Well, hey, happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope you're having an incredible day. And if you're eating lunch, or maybe you're watching this at some other point during the day, or maybe even at night, it's been so good to be with you all, talk with you just about basic leadership principles that I've been sharing with you all. And today, leadership lessons over lunch. Hopefully, you have something that you're taking notes with today, whether it be a pen and paper, whether it be your iPad, whether it be your phone, or whatever you're taking notes on. It's going to be kind of brought into two different sections today. I'm going to share with you three different kind of basic points today with this talk, and then three things that crisis leaders are going to do well in times of crisis. So two different sections. Each of them have 3 points to them. And so it's good to be with you talking about leadership, and leadership particularly in times of crisis. It seems like every single week, as I share with you all, something different either is happening in our world, something new that's happening in our world, or maybe even something from the past 12 weeks, even when we think about this crisis we've been in with this pandemic over the past, 13 weeks or so. Every single week, I'm sure for you, has been very, very different, whether it be emotionally draining, whether it be physically exhausted, or you're ready just to kind of be over it and move on. Well, it's good to be back into phase 2 as we are in, as you know, in our state. And today, what does it look like for us when we talk about this crisis that we've been in? Whether it be just with the situation with the COVID pandemic, or even the situation happening right now all across our country with the protests, the rioting, and all these different things that are happening. What does it mean for us to be great leaders in times of crisis, no matter what we face? Because we all know that this isn't the end. There's always going to be something new that's going to happen to us in our lifetime to help us to become a stronger leader, a better person, and to stand up for what's right. So 3 basic statements or principles I want to share with you today. I think all of us can learn from, whether you are a business owner, whether you are a leader in our church, whether you're married, whether you're a single parent trying to raise those kids at home by yourself. I think these can all apply to us today. And so the first one I want to share with you, just kind of a general statement, is a crisis leader that sees something for what it is. You're gonna want to know this. A crisis moves us, right? So you think about this crisis that we've been in, or even that we're currently in our country, right? It seems like it's changing constantly. It's going to move us. And what I mean by that is, as a leader, whether you're in charge of something or someone, it's going to move you in a positive or a negative direction. It's going to move you in a positive way towards something greater in your life, or it's going to push you away from something that could possibly be negative. It's kind of for better or for worse type thing. And so today, just as you think about where you're at when it comes to your leadership in life, has this crisis moved you in a positive direction or in a negative direction? Only you can answer that question. And I think looking back for me, just as a dad of 2 teenagers, a pastor here at WEC, and so many other hats that I wear, I can honestly say it's moved me in a strong, positive direction to become a better leader. So that's what crisis does in our lives. It's going to move us in a certain direction, whether it be with your family or with your job. And so the question for you today is this: how has this crisis moved you? Has it moved you to become more of a positive leader in your life, or has it moved you to become more negative? I hope and pray that it has become more positive in your life. Number 2 today, a crisis reveals who the best leaders are. And what I mean by that is you have crisis happening in our country, you have a crisis happening maybe even within your own family. It's going to reveal the best about who, it's going to reveal the best about who you are as a person. And what I mean by that is when you have certain situations that happen in your life, the leaders are going to rise to the top of those situations and what God wants to do for you in your life. They're going to make you rise up. They're going to cause you to rise up. And hopefully, this culture we're in today, the things that we've been experiencing, hopefully they're causing you to rise up. And then finally, a crisis tests a leader's confidence. You think about what we've gone through and over the past 2.5 months, hopefully it's built confidence in your life to handle situations differently. I hope that's happened, because as leaders, as we have to be teachable and coachable, hopefully God has given you that confidence to lead people in a different way. And so that's what I mean by that is, so those first three, I'm going to go over them real quick again. A crisis is going to move you, positive or negative. Number two, a crisis reveals who the best leaders are. They're going to rise to the top, right, during a crisis. And then number three, a crisis tests a leader's confidence. And so today, we all know the confidence that we have has to come from God instilling that in us to lead other people. And so 3 new things I want to share with you today about what crisis leaders are going to do well. So if you're taking notes, here's the next 3. Number 1 is they have an undetermined context in which they're leading from. And what do I mean by that is as you're in a context of leading, let's say it's in the office, or maybe it's here at church or another church, depending on where you're at, is that the leadership that you have within that context is going to reveal your style of leadership. It's almost like a big picture context, the big picture of what God is doing in your life. It's kind of like, I'm not sure about you, but there's lots of families that I know that have been doing puzzles during this COVID-19, of staying at home and doing puzzles. And what happens is most of the time you find yourself looking at what? It's the big picture. It's the big picture of the small pieces that you're trying to put together to make something beautiful. Well, it's the same thing with us as leaders. Think about your context you're in and think about the big picture and what God is doing to put each little piece together to be all that God's created you to be. It's pretty awesome. So a lot of times we're going to be so single-focused and so zoomed in on situations that we're not seeing the bigger picture of what God wants to do. And this can relate in so many different ways in our lives. Number 2 is embrace great values. Embrace great values. And what I mean by that is leading well by embracing great values means stand up for what you believe, stand up for what you desire to say. And, for me, as a leader, be the leader that other people like what you would want to have. And what I mean by that is Winston Churchill says this. He says this: courage is going from one failure to the next with spontaneous enthusiasm. Let me repeat that. Courage is going from one failure to the next with spontaneous enthusiasm. That's very difficult to do. And so think about your context and think about what God is doing in the bigger picture of your life and the values that you have as a leader. Be the leader that you would want somebody who's leading you or you to be. That's who we need to look at there. And then finally, number 3, as we all know this, is communicate effectively. When crisis happens, when situations are happening in our lives, we want to communicate the best way possible to those whom we are leading. And that can start with your family member at home. It can start with your boss, your coworker, or maybe even a team of people that you are leading. And so there you have it. Those are 3 things that leaders do well in crisis. And I just want to challenge you today maybe to go back and read over those notes, because all of us are on a different page when it comes to this. But it's been great being with you today, and I pray you have just an incredible rest of your day. Make sure you stay engaged with us in our devotionals each day, but also even on the weekend with our services. Well, have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. How long was